yeah, we have Shantel, I believe her name is. Yep.
Yeah.
Shantel from
Shantel in
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Yeah. What can we do for you?
Hi. So, sorry, I'm nervous. I know I'm going to be on
Sure.
YouTube, but so I'm agnostic
Mm-hmm.
and I'm deconstructing from Christianity, also the New Age movement.
Mm-hmm.
So both of them at the same time. It's a little bit hard. So I had two questions. The first one is, like, I know some people say they have near-death experiences and stuff like that, and I get confused. That's where the deconstructing part comes in. So I was wondering if you guys had, like, an explanation for that.
Yeah, an explanation
Like,
for why people have near-death experiences.
yeah, basically, like, the science behind it, if you guys know.
Yeah,
Like, anything
I mean,
like that.
it's certainly broad, right? Like there are so many different things that can cause a quote near-death experience. When somebody is close to death, they have an experience, and we tend to lump all of these different stories and all of these different sort of pseudoscientific or spiritual, mysterious events into one particular category. So there is not one singular answer to all of these different experiences. But what you really start to notice once you scratch the surface is brains doing weird brain things. You know, it's worth acknowledging that our brain is not a switch that just gets flipped off and on. It's not like your brain is either working or it's not working. It's actually a remarkable number of different processes and components that can all be working together or perhaps against each other in some really weird and interesting ways. You know, one common sort of near death experience has to do with people sort of losing their sense of being grounded within their own body. And what we understand in psychology is that our groundedness, like our connection between our mind and our body, is very tenuous, that it's never 100% integrated or 0% integrated, that we're always some level of grounded. You know, if I were to ask you, Chantel, about like your big toe on your right foot right now, you might start to notice some sort of sensation there. You weren't really thinking about your big
Yeah,
toe and you weren't
probably.
really feeling it. Yeah. When I bring it up here, like you start to notice, oh, okay, there is something there. And you start to move it around, whether consciously or unconsciously. And I just want to highlight that our bodies are doing that all the time. And when we are bringing in incredible amounts of pain, which can overwhelm and shut down our nervous system, when we bring in things like a lack of oxygen or a number of different dissociative anesthetics and other drugs that can come in and complicate all of this, these very complex systems can get thrown out of whack in some very interesting and bizarre ways. Now, when it comes to near death experiences, every single time we've done any amount of valid scientific research to try and understand what's going on, we have found something that disproves the sort of magicalness of it all. We have done tests where things that have been written in places where a free floating spirit might be able to see them weren't witnessed by that free floating spirit. We've done all kinds of different examinations of these experiences, and each one, when we are able to understand what's going on, is a normal everyday phenomena, like the things that I described about being ungrounded or having these different toxins in your body or all of this sort of stuff. I don't mean to go on, but I guess what I just want to demonstrate to you
No, it's
is
okay.
that brains are weird and they can get fucked up and get really kind of played around with.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Sorry. It's been hard to deconstruct. All these things are going through my head.
Mm.
So Chantel, I'm not the the expert on brains, or I have no background in clinical psychology or anything like that. But I will say from my own experience, I'll just bring up my military service, for example. I think that there is kind of this mass hysteria type like phenomenon that happens. The word escapes me right now for what it is, but for example, if you look beyond the 1950s, right? When we first started getting reports of UFOs, all of a sudden we started getting many reports of UFOs, right? Or people saw maybe little green men. Then every account after that started becoming little green men. These ideas that are posited, right? They kind of manifest themselves in our own ways of thinking to the point where we start creating scenarios that mimic the very things that were implanted there previously. So in our own time, for example, we had an example a couple years ago, where a Chinese spy balloon flew over the United States, and the United States shot it down. But after that, every single balloon that was in the air, everybody perceived to be a Chinese spy balloon, And I don't think that that's much different than near-death
Yeah.
experiences, because we go through our lives hearing about the tunnel with the light and seeing our dead relatives. And, when we start maybe coming to an end, or experiencing a set of circumstances where our brain is acting funny or maybe shutting down, we might relive those things that we think we're supposed to be reliving. They're posited there, and we think that that's the natural course of events, so that's what it must be. And so I think that there's a lot of there's kind of this default state that we create based on the information that we absorb over the years. And it's no different, in my opinion, than false reports of things that make us go, oh, well, it must have been, maybe it was Bigfoot, or something like that. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I was a little all over the place, and I was starting to lose myself there for a minute, but I hope I reined it
No,
all
it's
in for you.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know that you
Yeah.
were nervous to come on YouTube, right? But you're doing a great job. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be nervous if I were you. Do you have maybe anything else that you wanted to kind of pile on to what Christy or I said, especially Christy, since he gave you the more credible answer?
No, I think you guys covered it mainly. I'm just like all over the place right now. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I need to talk to someone, and I've been watching you guys' channel, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
Have
It's
have
been
you
really
ever been
hard.
religious?
I
Were you ever
appreciate that you're
religious?
watching
What was
shows
that?
like this. Yeah, y'all go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, Christy.
Yeah.
I got excited, but I was just wondering, because she said she was agnostic, right? So I was wondering, like, were you ever religious, and if so, what changed it for you?
Yeah, so I was okay, so it's kind of confusing. I was Christian. Well, I was in the New Age movement, and then someone told me it was demonic, so I was a Christian. And it was kind of like a cult, basically, because I don't know if this is all of Christianity that makes people feel like this, but I was told that there were demons in me. They needed to give me an exorcism, and for me, I have mental health issues. So I already know that it was part of my mental health issue. I was going through mania when they were trying to like give me exorcisms, if that makes sense. I don't know. And basically, they told me if I watched, all right, I'm not even going to lie. This is the craziest thing I'm probably going to say about it, is that they told me if I watched Disney movies, it was demonic and it was going to put a demon in me or whatever. I do not know what they were talking about. It was just very traumatizing. And what else? They told me I had to fast for 40 days. Actually, they told me I had to do that because it would get the demons, quote unquote, demons out of me. What else? Sorry, I'm talking too fast.
It sounds like you were given a lot of info
else?
that just didn't add up, huh?
You had
Yeah,
to overcome some pretty difficult things.
I can't really think of all of it, and I'm probably not making sense when I talk because I'm still going through that trauma.
Sure.
So sorry if I didn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of support have you been getting as you work through this process and try to heal from some of these ideas?
So I've been in Facebook groups for like recovering from religion, recovering from Christianity. I
Mhm.
haven't found any groups for recovering from New Age. but I am in like this group chat for it, but it doesn't really help that much because they don't answer the questions as well as you guys did.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's basically what I've been doing, and it's
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah, the Reclamation Collective has a number of groups that are centered more around spiritual abuse that may be a really good fit. I think you mentioned recovering from religion, but I don't know if you're familiar with the Recovering from Religion Foundation, which is a organization that you might want to take a look at. I don't want to just overwhelm you with resources because I know that a lot of this process can be sort of slow and painstaking and difficult and overwhelming. But I would encourage you to look at something like Leaving the Fold by Marlene Winnell, which is a really excellent book on this topic. More than anything, though, I would just hope that you wouldn't have to go through this process by yourself. That you would have some sort of support and community around you because the things that you're suffering, the pain that you're experiencing, didn't come from just an old book sitting on a shelf. It came from a community of people. It
Yeah.
came from other people convincing you that this was right and that was wrong. And so to heal from that suffering is usually going to involve having a good support group, having people around you who understand what you're going through. So I really encourage you to take a look at some of those organizations, to maybe find a support group or to just find like-minded people who understand what you're going through.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like the Facebook groups have helped me
Hmm.
mainly, but
Yeah.
just the other groups that I'm in for, like I said, for New Age it's like it doesn't help, but I will like figure it out. I'll definitely figure it out.
Yeah, well, sounds like you are well on your way, and I really appreciate you sharing part of your journey with us. Is there anything else that we might be able to help with or point you towards today?
No, that was it. That was mainly the thing that I was stuck on.
All right. Well, thank you
The
so
near
much. I
death
hope you have a
experience.
great day and that we get to hear from you in the future.
Yep.